For me, art has always been like such a like soul food.
Hello friends, Jessica here today practicing community and social distancing with Gigi.
Hello.
I first met Gigi in January when you came into the studio to have your nostril pierced by the very talented guest piercer we had, Ursula Thompson. So I guess to start, why don't you just tell me a little bit about yourself?
I am a college student at the University of Oregon, currently studying art and journalism. I love body modifications, body piercings, tattoos. I've got 5. I got 1 actually after my nose piercing. It's very cute. It's a cat on my arm.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
That's so cool. Where did you go?
Tattoo 34. It's my favorite shop with my favorite artists.
They're in downtown Portland, aren't they?
Yes, Hawthorne.
Yes. One of my favorite restaurants. Now I can't remember what it's called, but they have really good French toast is on that street, and I passed them a couple of times.
You should go. They're amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit more about why you love body modification so much.
So I've always been very self-expressive with my body. Like I've dyed my hair all through middle school, all through high school. My natural hair color. This is my natural hair color. It was pink. And I think it really comes down to like, it depends on what kind of body modification. When it comes to tattoos, I love tattoos because for me, art has always been like such a like soul food. And I went a couple years without creating art. I was going insane. It was terrible 2 years. And so like being able to put something I love on my body and then knowing that it's permanent, because being an artist, being a human being in this world, there's constant change. No matter how hard you try to create an anchor, things will always change. And I mean, it's good because we need growth. But it's also kind of nice to have a constant, and you yourself, you are constant with yourself throughout your whole life. And so I think like you can change how you look, and those can be different, but I think with tattoos it's very much like, okay, this is with me forever, and it's kind of like safe, you know?
Yeah.
When it comes to piercings, I love piercings because it is jewelry, and it's a more intimate form of jewelry that is very self-expressive. I've had my tongue pierced. I've had my nose pierced twice. I've had my ears pierced. And even though I don't wear my jewelry all the time, when I do, it feels very like it exemplifies myself and my features. So that's why I really like tattoos and piercings.
I love it. That's awesome. I agree. I'm also an artist.
Right.
And I also went through like a really dark 2-year period where I didn't create anything, but I got a lot of things created on me. Right? I'm like, I hear you.
Yeah, right?
I dyed my hair yesterday, so my hands.
Oh my God, I love that so much. I need to do my roots.
I like put my mask on and went to Albertsons and bought some box dye.
I love that so much. I know. I'm like, where are my gloves? Where are my mask? We're getting some hair dye. It's happening.
It's necessity. Like it is.
It is.
Yeah. Well, like especially coming from, one modified person to another modified person, and an artist to another artist.
Yeah.
There is that part of your soul that almost starves without being fed. And I went through that like 2 to 3 year period where I didn't create anything, and it was like it was almost like me and my soul were not one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I do, 100%.
Right? It was like that
one
disconnect. And I was very much feeling that when the pandemic happened, because everything shuts down.
Yeah.
And you go from like in the zone and busy, and like you were going to art classes and all of this stuff, and then it's quiet. Quietness is like so almost triggering, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, I haven't been able to go out and get more canvases. I've painted all of these.
Those are beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if you can see them that well. They're all on my Instagram anyway.
I like it.
Yeah, and like, so I've been trying my best, focusing more on drawing, but like, painting has been a very good outlet for me of my emotions and how to express myself. And so I feel like I'm bottling it up. And it does feel like that starvation, that kind of almost deadly silence, that you're just falling into a black hole again. And it's terrifying because those were the worst 2 years of my life,
Right.
But I think as artists, it's our responsibility to adapt, and our world right now needs us more than ever before. We need hope. That's how the human race survives, unfortunately. So
I agree, and I'm also thinking back, and maybe this is true for you, but when I started to get sucked in, like, I remembered I just needed to feel more like myself, so I dyed my hair at 3 a.m, and I did a Zoom call with my best friend, and we both dyed our hair at 3 a.m, and it just made everything feel like me again.
Yeah.
And it was like that deadly quiet, just kind of, you could hear the hum of life again, like you could hear, because I feel like as artists, I think that everyone has a specific role in society, and I am not a scientist, so I can't speak to being a scientist, and I'm not a mathematician, so I can't speak to being a mathematician, but as an artist, what I see is feelings, and a lot of that is, if you're not right and centered in yourself, then how can you can't translate anything that you see. It's just all of this raw emotion that just pours through you, and you can't channel it anywhere.
Exactly. And I think it's really important that it becomes a universal language, that people can start feeling like they can do it. I have tons of friends that are like, oh, all I do is doodle. And I'm like, that's great. You don't have to be good at art. You don't have to be like the masters to channel your feelings into something, because I think a lot of times people just bottle it up, and we've gotten better as this generation has been moving forward about like therapy and mental health and being able to talk about all these things. But it's still like important that we allow this kind of, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, we create that bridge that is needed for people to cross into our world, because it's something we need to share. And then that's another thing too, is a lot of previous artists and a lot of great artists are very lone wolves, and like that's what I'm learning about, is very egocentric, very narcissistic artists that would not work with people. But I'm also learning about great artists like Soluit, who would create blueprints that anybody can make, and it's just as authentic as if he had done it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and it's like, it's amazing, this group artistry.
Yeah. Who's your favorite artist?
Oh, currently, I'm learning about so many artists now in my classes. I think someone that will always have my heart is Marina Abadovic, I believe.
What era is it?
Recent. I
Okay.
believe she's still popping. She's out there. Okay. Marina Abramovic and Yule, they're performance artists.
Oh,
And,
cool.
yeah, they just, like, she is so dedicated to her practice as an artist. I mean, the work that she does is beautiful, about the human condition, about just like the practice of time and space, and what she's trying to convey through her work. But she's somebody I look up to a lot as an artist, because she just is so dedicated, and she doesn't do it for people. her motivation isn't like money or anything. She does it because she's so in tune with it and like she needs to create art. And I mean, she doesn't do it for the fame or any of that. I mean, they both, Yulei and her, back in the day, they did work together, performance work together, and he didn't like it. And I think that's what happened was they were talking about it in their interview that when they started becoming more recognizable and famous, that's when their relationship started to break, was because he didn't want that. He couldn't adapt to it. And he could not just like, he had very physical limits that she didn't, and they both have their own limits, but she was able to just push through, and he couldn't. So they split, and it was really their goodbye. They didn't do it for anybody else except each other. They both started on either ends of the Great Wall of China, and they walked and they met in the middle, and it took 3 months just to say goodbye.
That like give me chills.
I know, right? Literally every time. And like that's the thing, is like they're just so dedicated to the beauty of art and like how they live their lives through it. And I mean, I think it's really hard for people to do that in general through any kind of profession, like to live that profession as their truth, but it's just like it's super admirable.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Have you read the book Conversations with Artists?
No, I have not.
That's what it's called. I'm gonna grab it.
Okay, please. I'm gonna write it down.
It's called Arguing About Art.
Okay, Arguing About Art.
I think it is. Well, that one's a good one. So Arguing About Art. And then let me check this guy.
Yeah. I was reading Big Magic by Elizabeth. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Elizabeth Gilbert. Creative Living Beyond Fear. It's very inspiring.
I think you'll like this one.
Okay.
I read it, I think this is from my contemporary art class. Yeah, so it's contemporary philosophical debates.
Okay.
Philosophical debates, sorry.
No, you're totally good.
About art. And it goes into like the art of food, authentic performance of music, authenticity in musical performance, the concept of an authentic performance, and all sorts of things along those lines.
Yeah.
And then it's written by other artists, but there is one I think that is called Conversations in Art.
Okay.
It's interviews with different artists.
Ooh.
And absolutely amazing.
Art is so important.
It is. It really is. Like a couple of my favorite artists, I have two. It's Ai Weiwei, and he's a contemporary artist in China. He's kind of like the Andy Warhol of China, but now and today, and without all like the weird, shady stuff associated.
Yeah, that was heavy. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I do.
A lot of his stuff is he takes like ancient pottery from China, like the really old, like very valuable vases that are just so dear to their culture, and he'll paint Coca-Cola symbols on them.
I love that. That is so cool. It's such a like bond between traditional pottery and modern day.
And all of his stuff has a political statement to talk about how just his, like, I don't know much about Chinese politics, but it has to do, I know that the Chinese government hates him so much for all that he says that he did get kicked out of China a couple of times.
Wow, that's insane. I love that though.
I know, like he did a whole exhibit at Auschwitz.
Oh wow.
So cool.
What's his name again?
Or not Auschwitz, Alcatraz. Sorry.
Oh,
I always get those. They're two very different things.
They're very different things, but they have very similar.
They have A's.
I know. I totally get it.
So it's AI and then WEI. And he's still alive today. His work is just phenomenal, and I think you'll actually like it quite a bit. He did one piece to talk about all the, labor in China, and he did sunflower seeds, and I think he did one for every single Chinese labor, but he made them and covered the entire ground of them.
Wow.
In this one gallery, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Right? And then the other one is an oldie but goodie. and it's Caravaggio. I don't know how much you know about Caravaggio, but
we've briefly touched on it in my classes.
So much. I got to study him in Italy, and this is so off topic, but there's
go for it.
So much about Caravaggio that is just like amazing. So first off, no one knows where he is. He like died and disappeared.
Wow.
Which is very cool, and there's a lot of like lore associated with him.
What I want to do.
Right?
You know?
I'm like, that's so cool.
Right?
Mysterious. I think he was also a murderer.
Whoa, no way, really?
Yes. So he's a murderer. He was hired, he was one of the top artists in the time because he did those beautiful pieces in the cathedrals.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is he's actually a part of the Reformation of the Catholic Church.
Oh.
Because what he did was those beautiful pieces are done with dead subjects.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, so if you look at the grapes, they're molding and there's flies on them. And if you look at Mary, she was actually a prostitute. That was his model, was a prostitute who had passed away, and he painted her as Mary.
Wow.
Which is a huge statement during the time when it was very much about appearances and holiness. And what Caravaggio did was he took all that and he was like, actually, these are people. Just regular people in need of some grace. And so he painted regular people in need of some grace, and the Catholic Church hated it.
I love that.
I love it because it's so rebellious and also so pure and also so not.
I know, exactly.
All at the same time.
It like entails human perfection.
Right?
My opinion of perfection varies, but I feel like my definition of human perfection is all our flaws. The perfect human is completely flawed.
Yes.
You know?
I agree.
Because otherwise, then you're just a robot.
Exactly.
You're not human.
And I would almost say that flaws are a lie from society on what is not true. Because if you think of like what I like to do, bringing it back to modification.
Yeah, for sure.
I love to pierce parts or tattoo parts of my body that I'm almost afraid to bring attention to.
Me too.
Because, right, it makes you feel brave, and then it also makes you feel like you, and then it also almost feels like this big, like, you know, F you to society, kind of like, you know, I am me, and my flaws aren't flaws, they actually make me unique. And I would almost go as far as to say that your flaws are just learning curves in which you're growing as a person.
I completely agree, 100%. Yeah, flaws, you know, human society deemed flaws, but I completely agree with that. That's so awesome, because a lot of people don't can't wrap their head around that when I talk to them. Like they're like they kind of understand it, but I think on a different depth we understand what we're both like kind of saying, you know?
Yeah.
People like, I think it's really funny is like the people that I'm most attracted to, you know, and I think are the most attractive people are the people that society deem as like imperfect or like ugly, right? Yeah, I'm like, I call myself something beautiful. It's like I can't remember, but anyways, it's like just we're all beautiful in our own ways, and I really love human beings. I have a huge heart for them in my soul.
Me too. It's when I used to be a customer at Avanti, and I actually came into the studio when I was in the middle of that really dark time, and when I had actually just I graduated from George Fox with my bachelor's of arts. Yes. And I had just graduated, and I had just gone through my senior thesis, and I'm not sure where you are in art, but the senior thesis kicks everyone's butt.
Okay, good to know.
And that's normal, and it's okay.
Yeah, okay, good to know, good to know.
But it's very much a growing experience, because you'll enter, or at least I did. I don't want to speak for you, but I graduated, and then I was like, now what? Because what do you do with an art degree?
Right? I know, that's why I'm like, also journalism, because I think I can do something with that.
Was my second interest too.
Right, yeah. I'm like, I can do something with that at least to make money in the meantime.
Well, and so what I learned is, so I went straight from art school to working in a restaurant, and from working in a restaurant, I worked at a coffee shop, and then I worked at a bank, and then I worked at an Avanti, and everything I wanted to do in art school went into Avanti.
That's awesome.
Which was not at all what I was expecting, because it is a piercing studio and a jewelry store, and I was like, I didn't want to work at a restaurant anymore, and I really liked my experience at Avanti, and it had been such a transformative time for me. Like, I got my septum pierced, which is a huge, like, society, like, no piercing, you know, and my dad was always like, you're gonna look like a cow, and
oh my god, my grandma said that too!
right? And, like, every guy I'd ever been with was like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And I was like, why wouldn't I?
Right?
Well,
like, it's not for you. It's for me.
Right? I'm like this, and so that was like the first thing I actually did for me was getting that. Because I've gotten tattoos, but I feel like tattoos are kind of like your parents don't like them, but everyone else is okay with them.
Yeah, no, right, 100%.
Your parents are like, oh, why would you do that? And everyone's like, cool, sick tattoo guy. Like, bro, like, you know,
I love you tattoo, man.
Right? Like, yeah,
my parents were like, I would never. You
that's
know?
what they said.
Yeah, no, like, well, the thing is, my parents are artists as well.
Oh, cool.
My dad is very, like, particular. Like, the only way he'd ever get tattoo is if he tattooed himself, he'd been studying the tattoo, like, the art of tattooing for many years and became, like, perfection at it. Like, that's just, he needs it to be perfect, otherwise he'll hate it. And my mom just doesn't like permanent things. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which I think is really funny, because that's the one thing, that's what I love about tattoos, is that they are permanent, that I know it's not gonna change.
Me too.
Right?
I love that. Like, growing up, I was obsessed with shadow boxes and collecting things to put in the shadow boxes.
Yeah.
And so when I started getting tattoos, I felt like I was collecting memories and my body was becoming the shadow box.
That's so awesome. I love that.
Isn't that fun? And so that's what I like, what I love so much is because I'm collecting pieces of, like, everyone's like, oh, what do your tattoos mean? And I never tell anybody.
Yeah, no, right?
But each piece of it is a reflection of who I was in that time.
Yeah.
And then I get to hold on to that memory, because I feel like you will either go two ways in life. You'll either become someone who continually grows and continually changes and continually nurtures, or you'll become someone who implodes.
Yeah.
You know,
And
kind
it's
of
like,
it becomes all about either victimizing yourself or, you know, forgetting who you were and losing your humility.
yeah. And just being able to, like, I can sleep with myself at the end of the day.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, when I look at the mirror, I want to see who I am. I don't want to see anyone else. And, you know, like, I had to take out my lip piercing, and I didn't even realize how much of that changed how I felt about myself removing it. It was like, I almost cried in my car. And then I went and I came into work the next day and I was like, guys, I removed it. And, like, you know, one of our sales associates, I think it was Gigi also, they're like, wanted to cry with me, you know, because it's like such like a part of you, you know? Yeah. Was that the same with your nostril piercing, or?
It was difficult. So last time I got it pierced, like a year prior or whatever, that was devastating for me to take out, because it was infected and, like, I had to clean it, and then I couldn't it was like a whole thing, and I was also going through a really tough time. So it just was like, I felt like I was losing another piece of myself. Yeah. And so because I was in such a bad place at that time, it was very devastating. But right now, because I knew, like, okay, I know I can get this re-pierced. It's not the end of the world. Like, I have the jewelry. Like, this sucks, but I was in a much better place. So I was very okay with, like, putting it on pause and, like, being able to say, like, I can come back to this. You know, it's like a temporary thing.
Yeah.
But it was very difficult. I think if I had to get a tattoo removed, I would cry because I love it, you know? Like, I think about, like, how if, like, I get into, like, an accident or something and, like, you know, skin, like, burns off or something, or, like...
I do too!
Right? And I'm just like, no, my tattoo! Like, or, like...
You have to get stitches and they stitch it crooked.
Yes, right! Right? Or if, like, you have surgery and they have to, like, remove it or they mess it up, and I'm like, oh, that's terrifying to me. Like, that's my biggest fear when it comes to my body modifications. I think what I love about piercings is that they can be temporary. Like, you can put them back in. Like, but, like, anything happens to my tattoo, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm devastated.
Yes, no, I would be, yeah. That's true. Piercings are almost like temporary permanence. Like,
yeah.
You can have it as long as you want, but it also, like, you can remove it and do it again, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's limitations. You can really only pierce scar tissue so many times before it becomes a problem.
It's true. It's so true.
Noses are probably good. You're fine.
No, right? And, like, well, I've had my ears pierced 14 times throughout my life in the same spot because, let me tell you, growing up, I'd always go, it was before, like, tattoo guns were illegal, always would get it with the tattoo gun, always get infected, and always close up. Where I went to a shop, a tattoo piercing shop, and they pierced it properly, and I had no issues, and I was so ecstatic because I have had my ears pierced for like 3 years now, and they haven't closed up. And it's like, for me, that was like the best thing. It was the best day ever. It was like knowing that, like, okay, it's not gonna close up again, because I wanted my ears pierced so bad, and it would just never stick. It would always get infected, like super, super infected, like have to be on antibiotics.
Oh.
So it was just like, I think that was one of the most frustrating things for me growing up, was because I wanted it so bad. But yeah.
I understand. Were you pierced with the piercing guns before?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, the first, like, 13 times or so were piercing gun. And then when I did it with the needle at a piercing shop, amazing.
Yeah.
Easiest.
Well, and what's crazy, so that's one of the things we're doing at Avanti is mostly because, so when I came onto Avanti, I knew nothing about piercing, like, at all, other than, like, I had been pierced.
Yeah.
And so we're like, who of our customers also know nothing? And I'm like, it's probably everybody. And so that's what we're trying to, I'm like, really, realistically, like, at least 90% probably don't necessarily know why piercing. I didn't know why piercing guns were bad. I know
me either.
Right? I'm like, I was 22 and got my seconds done with a piercing gun.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, that's what you're done. And then I started working at Avanti, and I learned why you don't use piercing guns, and, like, it does blunt force trauma, and that's actually why they tell you to twist your earrings. It stems from piercing guns because the trauma causes the tissue to grow over the earring. But when you're pierced with a needle, that doesn't happen.
That's insane.
Yeah. And so this is a whole new world to me. And I'm like, oh, so that's one of the things we're doing with Avanti. And actually one of the reasons why we're doing all of these interviews and is to bring, like, first off, bring hope to everybody, because everybody needs a little hope, especially today, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Also to, you know, empower everybody to just continue to be themselves. Check in with, you know, our regulars and be like, hey, how you doing? You still here? And then to also educate everybody, because I know better, and I've been tempted to pierce myself. Like,
right?
I'm like, yeah. I know other people are out there feeling the same way, and we just gotta band together, and it'll be over soon.
We just gotta hold it in.
You can hold it
breathe. I know, because, like, man, I think when I was a kid, like 4, I wanted my ears pierced so bad, and, like, my older sister was 8, and we were like, let's just do it. So she put peas on my ear and then took the earring and pierced. It was bleeding, and I was like, ah! My mom's like, what are you doing? So, yeah, lots of fun experiences. I'm sure people are trying to pierce themselves through this time.
I know.
Well.
I've seen it on TikTok. I'm like, no.
Really? Oh, I've been seeing all the, like, cutting hair videos and, like, dyeing your hair video, and I'm like, that's a mood, right? I'm like, Don't shave your head, Gigi. I want to, but don't do it.
I did. Like my razor's actually out, like my buzz cutter.
Yeah.
And I
you're
was like, you can hold off. You don't need, because I've been growing my hair out.
Yeah,
I'm getting
me too.
married this year sometime. Now it's up in the air because of the pandemic. But I've been growing my hair out for the wedding, and I'm like, I could be a bald bride.
Yeah, literally, right?
You've been growing your hair out for a year. You gotta hold on to it, like.
Yeah. Right? Oh my god. I shaved my head sophomore year of high school, and then this is since then. This is what's grown.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know, and I'm like, don't do it. Just get through this part of your life where you need the long hair, and then you can do whatever afterwards.
Well, I think I will wrap it up here.
Yes.
But I have enjoyed talking to you so much.
I know, I concur. This has been wonderful.
I'm really excited to see you when this is all over so we can get your nostril re-pierced.
That'd be awesome.
And we can also look at all of the new things because we're getting new products.
Yes.
Woo!
So exciting!
But yeah, I hope you stay safe.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, please do. And, best of luck with the wedding. Congrats, by the way.
Thank
you.
you. All right, well, have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.